For today's headlines, Moreno takes Cebu by storm. Politics should not distract us. Minors never had it so good. Kids, seniors can now use public transport. Let people judge drug war. South Korea lifting of worker restrictions lauded. Vico wants Basura to Ayuda program emulated. Good morning, I am Venice Bautista and this is Tribune News on Q. Today is November 8, 2021 and these are the latest news this Monday morning. Manila Mayor and Aksyon Demokratiko presidential bet Isko Moreno Domagoso took Cebu by storm during his two-day listening tour that started Friday. Everywhere he went, the man, once described by a top U.S. Embassy official as a rock star, won the hearts and minds of Cebuanos who were obviously elated to see him in person. Moreno's crusade to listen to the people from different sectors was greatly appreciated, and his message of buhay at kabuhayan was loudly acknowledged wherever he went in this Central Visayas province, considered to be the #1 vote-rich province in the country. If elected, he vowed to immediately revive the sagging tourism industry by a two-point agenda of cutting oil and electricity taxes and utilizing the Mandanas Law to create more jobs and opportunities. He also vowed that all of his succeeding decisions and plans of action will be determined by a thorough consultation with the people, since the welfare of the people will be the heart of his presidency. To further promote Cebu tourism, Moreno said he will prioritize the construction of tourism infrastructure that will link tourism sites, as well as better access roads and transport facilities to the tourist sites. Moreno said his administration will also invest on information technology infrastructure, particularly on improving internet connectivity. Senator Christopher Bongo on Sunday encouraged fellow workers in government not to allow politics to distract them in leading the country through the pandemic. As public servants, they are duty-bound to work together to ensure that the country recovers from the crisis and lift our people from poverty and hunger, as said in his weekly column Going Forward. Go, who is seeking the vice presidency in next year's national elections, likewise urged the Filipino people to remain focused on the urgent work before them by remaining vigilant, disciplined, and cooperative. The former presidential aide said his office will continue to pursue efforts that aim to strengthen the healthcare system and improve people's access to health services, as well as fulfill its mission of helping those who need government assistance the most, particularly the hopeless, the helpless, the poor, and the needy. Go said he is pleased to see the strong gains made through the national vaccination program. As of November 6, he pointed out more than 63.7 million vaccine doses have been administered nationwide, and of this number, 34.4 million, he said, were administered as first doses, while around 29.3 million were administered as second or full single-dose vaccines. As the government continues to balance protecting both our people's health and the economy, Go encouraged everyone to not let their guard down. Go expressed confidence that through compassionate service, shared responsibility, and cooperation, the country will see brighter days ahead. He called on Filipinos to support the campaign against COVID-19 by encouraging others to get vaccinated. Cooped up in their homes for nearly 2 years, children under the age of 18 never had it so good as they were observed roaming through parks, malls, and churches with their guardians on the first Sunday since Metro Manila shifted to Alert Level 2 due to a decrease in COVID-19 cases. Minors have already been permitted to visit parks, regardless of their vaccination status, as long as they are accompanied by a fully vaccinated adult. They must also follow certain health protocols, such as wearing masks and social distancing. Last Thursday, the Interagency Task Force on the Management of of Emerging Infectious Diseases approved the same protocols for the opening of malls and other indoor establishments to children. Intrazonal and interzonal mobility are permitted under this resolution, subject to reasonable constraints established by local government entities. Workers in both indoor and outdoor facilities must be completely vaccinated against COVID-19 according to the IATF, and basic public health standards must be strictly adhered to. The level of alert in the NCR was formally reduced on November 5 and will stay in effect until November 21. The Department of Health, meanwhile, appealed to Filipino adults to refrain from traveling with children in crowded or closed areas amid the persisting threat of COVID-19. However, the health official expressed confidence that children in Metro Manila would remain safe from the COVID-19 threat despite the loosening of restrictions. Tribune News on Q will be back after these short reminders.
Manong Joe po!
At Ate Maita.
Boto mo to, Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Magandang araw mga katribu! Narito na ang mga makakasama nyo tuwing umaga sa programang Gising Na. Roy Pelevelo, Comfy Manalo, Atty. Lia Badillo Crisostomo, Vernon Velasco, Kim Sancha at Jerk Balagtas. Abangan ang programang Gising Na mula alas 8 hanggang alas 9 ng umaga sa Facebook page ng Daily Tribune.
Ilabas ng mainit na kape at samahan kami sa inyong pag-almusal, mga katribo.
Sama-sama natin alamin ang mga natatagong istorya sa mga latest na kaganapan sa loob at labas ng bansa.
Simulan natin ang bawat umaga with good vibes sa mga informative and recreational segments ng aming programa.
Maaari niyo rin ibahagi sa amin ang inyong opinion via Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now sa YouTube.
Makichika na rin sa latest showbiz happenings, mga katribo.
Kaya naman, magkita-kita po tayo mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 8 hanggang alas 9 ng umaga at magsama-sama po tayo sa
Gising Na!
Boto mo to, Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
We're back on Tribune News on Q. Meanwhile, the Interagency Task Force on Emerging Infectious Diseases has lifted the age restriction in public transportation in Metro Manila, the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority said Sunday. In a radio interview, MMDA Chairperson Benhur Abalos clarified the Pandemic Task Force has already approved the recommendation to allow children and the elderly to use mass transportation within the National Capital Region following the downgrade of the COVID-19 alert level. On late Saturday night, the MMDA also announced the extension of mall hours in Metro Manila on weekdays. Starting November 15, weekday operating hours of malls in Metro Manila will be from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. The agency said this is based on MMDA Resolution 2125, which was approved by the Metro Manila Council. Abalos confirmed that malls operators had agreed to extend their operating hours to help ease the flow of traffic that is expected to become heavy due to the upcoming Christmas season. Under Alert Level 2, establishments will be allowed to operate indoors at 50% capacity, while those outdoors will be allowed 70% capacity. Senator Christopher Bongo said the Filipino people is the better judge whether the government's campaign against illegal drugs is a failure, as he highlighted the positive change in the peace and order situation felt in communities. The senator noted the progress made by the campaign against illegal drugs, saying that society is safer now due to the campaign. If in the past many lives were ruined by drugs, now users have the opportunity to go into rehab and change their lives. If before the ruling drug lords were fearless, now it is the police who are respected because of the protection they give to ordinary Filipinos, he expressed. The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency reported that from July 2016 to August 2021, it seized 64.09 billion pesos worth of illegal drugs and laboratory equipment. It has dismantled 893 dens and clandestine labs, and it reported 22,858 barangays out of 42,045 are now considered drug-free. A total of 307,521 drug criminals have been arrested, while 3,922 have been rescued in anti-illegal drug operations. Senator Go said the government must maintain its firm stance against illegal drugs as the Filipino people has put their trust in the president to protect the rights and welfare of those victimized by these societal ills. Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III has authorized the Philippine Overseas Employment Administration, or POEA, to begin processing the deployment of workers to South Korea after the announcement that limitations of foreign workers entering the country have been lifted. Korea's Minister of Employment and Labor, or MOEL, announced on Friday that it will allow the entry of workers from all sending countries, including the Philippines, under its Entry Permit System, or EPS, before the end of this month. According to Bello, the easing of restrictions on EPS workers is a long-awaited development for thousands of EPS staff who have been awaiting deployment since last year. The entry of EPS workers will be subject to pre-entry measures like full vaccination and negative PCR test results, as well as post-entry measures such as mandatory quarantine and PCR testing, according to MOEL. Following its declaration, the Korean Embassy in the Philippines said that it is waiting for guidelines from the South Korean government for the issuing of E9 visas to Filipino EPS workers. And the Philippines has been sending Filipino workers to Korea since 2004 under a government-to-government cooperation agreement on EPS. The development workers, however, has temporarily suspended due to ROK entry and restrictions since June 2020 as part of COVID-19 measures. Tribune News with Q will be back. Stay with us.
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage. Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
You are still watching Tribune News on Q. In other news, Mayor Vico over the weekend urged Pasig City villages to mirror the Basura to Ayuda program of Barangay San Antonio, led by its chairperson Raymond Lising. Lising said they were flattered and honored by Soto's acknowledgement of their project that fosters waste segregation and recycling. During the program's anniversary, over 200 kilos of plastic waste were collected by barangay personnel from residents. The barangay official said the whole-of-community approach to recycling is sustainable while manifesting the community's commitment in protecting the environment. He explained that the program eases some burden on the part of garbage collectors, as many residents have made it a habit to segregate their wastes. Under the Basura to Ayuda, residents exchange the plastic waste for packs of rice with the barangay, which has struck a partnership with the Planeta Cares, a non-government organization. Residents collect and bring 500 grams of loose plastic or 1.5-liter eco brick weighing 500 grams in exchange for 3 kilos of rice. Planeta Cares then brings the plastic waste to its three selected by recycling entities, the Sustainable Gardener PH, Kloop, and Cycle. Both situated in Pasig, Kloop and Cycle employ members of low-income families. The end products are sold with the profit going to the salary of their workers, and eco bricks go to the Sustainable Gardener PH for their urban farming projects. The materials built from recycled plastics are donated to poor communities that need them the most. And that wraps up the stories this morning. Before we go, we would like to thank the SM Store, Mary Kay, Arda Center, Department of Tourism, MG Motors, Hina Motors, Security Bank, and Overseas Community Affairs Council Member Alan Lin of Republic of China for their continued support. Again, this is Venice Bautista on Tribune News on Q, reminding you that we only have 47 days until Christmas. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay at home. Good morning.
Catch the latest news on our website, tribune.net.ph. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune Now. Download the Daily Tribune app on Apple Store for iOS and Google Play for Android to get the latest and most comprehensive news online. Daily Tribune invites you to join its Viber community, Katribu, to get updates on the hottest news on politics, business, sports, lifestyle, and entertainment. Emoticons of the Tribune mascot Tercito are available on our community Viber.